Behavior 911 on Nextdoor Radio, nextdoorradio.com, and the Nextdoor Radio app. I am Kellie Syfan with Clove Hitch Behavior, and I am so excited to be here with you today. We're going to be talking about motivation and how it affects behavior and how we react to different things differently depending on our motivations. Now, of course, we could talk about this in a layman way and just talking about all the different ways that motivation affects our behavior throughout the day. But we're going to really sink into the science behind it, go into the science of behavior analysis, and talk about how motivation can really change and be affected and create some of those behaviors that you're seeing that may not make sense in the moment. So I'm hoping at the end of our time today, you'll go, holy smokes, that's what's happening. That's why my child is doing this. That's why I do that. So let's jump right in. To begin, I want to fully introduce myself. I'm Kellie Syfan from Clove Hitch Behavior. You can call me at 919-579-6192 or go to chbehavior.com and click any of the book a call with me buttons. Be more than happy to chat with you. I can help with behaviors around tantrums and meltdowns, big fears and phobias, or the behaviors resulting from trauma. So with that in mind, let's talk specifically about motivation. When we're discussing motivation, we want to map it out within the structure of the behavior map we talked about last week. Now, don't worry, you can go to nextdoorradio.com and watch all of our past radio shows. You can go check that out first if you like. Very quickly, we're going through the antecedent, which is the trigger, the behavior itself that we're interested in, and the consequence after. Whatever happens after that increases or decreases the behavior. But before that antecedent, before that trigger occurs, our motivations are at work. Do we care when that trigger occurs? So a very simple example of that, if I'm super hungry and I see that my favorite restaurant's open, I'm very likely to walk in. I felt super hungry. There's my motivation. The trigger of it being open occurred, and my behavior was I'm likely to walk in. Consequence, I'm going to have a delicious sandwich. It's going to be great. I'm more likely to walk in next time. Now, if I had just eaten a big meal and I saw that same trigger, my favorite restaurant is open, I'm less likely to walk in. My motivation has changed. It's a little bit different. And what I want to focus on in this moment is why does the motivation change when those simple situations aren't in place? It's not a simple, well, I'm full, so I don't want any, or I'm hungry, so I do want some. Why does motivation suddenly shift in strange directions? There's three different things that we can talk about there. So, first, when we're talking about food, we're talking about something that we're naturally born with. We naturally want to eat when we're hungry, but there's things that are conditioned, things that aren't about our immediate survival that can affect our motivations. And I want to talk about three conditioned things or three different concepts of conditioning around motivation. The first is going to be a surrogate. So if we're mapping this out using all of the fancy terminology, we'll call this a conditioned motivating operation surrogate. I know, we're getting deep into the nerdy stuff today. We're having a good time. When we're looking at a surrogate, we've got something that is paired, that has been placed next to, that has been associated with something that normally would motivate us. So let's say we've got a kiddo, and when mom picks them up from school, she's usually wearing the same dress. And then someone else is wearing that same dress. The child may run towards them at first and not realize when they get a little closer, holy smokes, this isn't mom. Their motivation shifted because of that similarity. Now, of course, once they realize it's not mom, they're going to switch back. But we can start to see those pieces of these two things were associated. So my motivation that was associated with this one has now been moved to the other. And you can see this throughout our lives affecting how we react to different things. Am I interested in this? Am I not interested in that? Do I see something and not understand why I'm abhorrent toward it? I want to push it away, or I want to bring it closer to me. It's really interesting when we're looking at that pairing between different things and how it affects motivation. So that's our first one, that surrogate. We've got something that we're motivated for, and it shifts over to something else because of an association it has. The next one we want to go into is reflexive. And that looks at how our reflexes react, how our body reacts internally to something. So let's say that we've got a a trigger that has established itself. Let's say, for example, spelling tests. Spelling tests are really, really tough. And I will do anything. I am immediately satiated on spelling tests, even thinking about them. As someone who grew up with dyslexia, this is a very true statement for me, Kelly, myself. So if your child is going, man, I just cannot stand spelling tests, they have very little motivation to engage in spelling tests when they become available. Well, spelling tests also occur on Fridays. So that signal of a spelling test may be coming. It's not even there yet. That signal that one may be coming can cause our motivation to dip on Fridays. And then spelling tests are usually given by this teacher. So now our motivation to be around the teacher has started to dip. And we can see very quickly how that reflex of, oh, my stomach is upset on a Friday, or I have a headache as soon as we get back from lunch, because that's when the spelling tests normally occur. That is exactly what we're talking about here. That transfer over, it may not be exactly associated with, it's not a perfect in place of, like with surrogate, but it's transferred over and it's starting to seep into other places. So think about this one when you start to see your child suddenly feeling ill at different moments. Doesn't always mean they're faking it. They can be going through a conditioned motivating operation that is reflexive. Their body is reacting to the signal that something may come. And last but not least, we've got the transitive. So in this one, I'm motivated for something, but I need something else. So my motivation shifts. Great example for this. I'm motivated to go to the pool. Fantastic. What do I need to go to the pool? I need to find my bathing suit, or I need to find the sunscreen, or I need to find my hat. And my motivation is shifted in order to get those pieces that I need in order to complete the true goal that I have. So looking at this, when we've got a kiddo that doesn't understand what those pieces are, they can feel very frustrated that we're not already at the pool. On the other side, if they can't find that specific thing that they believe they need in order to access the pool, so maybe it's their special shiny rock, and you're going, why do you need a rock to go to the pool? Well, their motivation has gone through the transitive property and is transitioned over to, for whatever reason, that rock equals I can go to the pool and have a good time. And again, sometimes it doesn't make sense to us. Sometimes we're going through these things and we go, holy smokes, how did this connect to that, connect to that? But if we take our time to sit down and map things out, we can really see what's happening with behavior, why motivations are going the direction they do, and how we can support making better and safer choices as we move along. Now, I know this is a lot, so don't worry. That's what I'm here for. I am happy to do a 30-minute consultation with you at any time. Again, you can go to chbehavior.com, click any of the Get a Call with Me buttons. More than happy to talk things through. You can also call or text 919-579-6192. Now, what I want to leave you with today is, as you're considering all these motivations and all these shifts through, know that you're not just looking at your kids. You can also look at yourself. So if you start to notice these things in yourself and your patterns, and know that this is being modeled here and this is being followed through there, and you're seeing these things within your family and you like them, fantastic. These different types of motivation can lead us to amazing places and beautiful connections. And if you don't, think about the values that you hold most dear and how to best align these shifts with that. There are so many ways that motivation can be used well to make changes in your life, to change how you react to those triggers that come up, change whether or not they're sharp for you, whether or not they're really painful and make these big behaviors occur, or if they're just gentle and kind. And when triggers come, you can just see them come and let them go. Oh, that is an incredibly peaceful place to come from. And I'm so excited that I can bring you this information so you can go through and look at the different types of motivation and how they can affect your behavior now and in the future. Thank you so much for joining me on Behavior 911. We are at 10 a.m. on Nextdoor Radio. You can catch all of our episodes at nextdoorradio.com or on the Nextdoor Radio app. This has been Kellie Syfan with Club Pitch Behavior. I'll see you next week.